Welcome and hello and hello and welcome. Thank you for joining me on this very special late night hump day edition of Un Poco Mas, the show where we crush your head between our fingers and we try to give you just that little bit more, just that little something extra, just that something special that keeps you coming back and leaves you wanting more. Remember, guys, all I can tell you is don't fear price action. Warren Buffett's not afraid of short-term price action. Anthony Noto's not afraid of short-term price action. People are just, why doesn't Noto come out and say something? Why doesn't he attack the shorts like the guy from Palantir? I mean, Noto's running a bank, guys. He can't say anything. He's in a permanent state of lockup. He is trying to get SoFi approved for business banking, business lending, all sorts of other things that regulators are going to be, going over, all of the SoFi's books, their bona fides, their executives. They're hiring people, for these exact purposes. See the hire from the New York Fed. So Noto can't come out, like Carp and just attack the shorts. They're running two completely different types of businesses. You listen to the stuff like an Elon Musk says, the stuff he does in public, and it's just unthinkable that Noto would come out and do things like that. But the good thing is he has a proxy. He has a Danny Deals, his boy, the apple of his eye. And I am proud of my papa, and I'm going to come out in a full-throated defense of SoFi, of Anthony Noto, of this ER. I'm calling everybody out, guys. UnSlim Shady is here. I threw up earlier. My mom's spaghetti is actually pretty good. I'm just generally a little bit nauseous. Probably had too much coffee. I don't think Not a Lurker is up and with us, so I can tell everybody. And Princess J is out at work still, so I could say I probably drank like 10 cups of coffee today. It wasn't good. It's just one of those days. Just tons and tons of work, tons of meetings, and it was just fucking absolutely miserable. Anyway, guys, enough about me and my woes, my sob story. Let me see if I can remember how to share my wonderful screen here on my crap top. Let's go ahead and give you this fabulous page. Oh, there it is. There it is, coming in hot. Let's put my happy ass down here in the corner. I wish I could make myself a little bit bigger because I just feel so small down there in that corner, but that's just the way it is. Hello and welcome and hello and welcome everybody who's taken the time to go ahead and join us here this evening. Colombian Kingpin 347 was here first. Hello and welcome. I'd like to welcome your hairline to the show. Hello and welcome Jake the Snake 141414. Hello. Daniel Wendt is here. What's going on? The pipes. Oh, the pipes. Oh, the Pete. The Pete, Danny boy. Oh, the Pete. Oh, it's glorious. Bread Dab's here. Wow, that's a nice button up. Can you tell Noto to button up his goddamn stock? I wish Daddy listened to me. But he does his own thing. He's always been very, very independent. I think that's why he abandoned me at birth and never looked back. Very smart move for his career and for his future family. So, you kind of got a do-over. Danny Deals was his mulligan. If you guys have read the Prince Harry book, Spare, that's how I feel. Noto, he didn't need me. He abandoned me, but I think I inherited a lot of his moxie, not a lot of his intelligence, certainly not a lot of his good looks or athletic ability, but that's neither here nor there, folks. Good to see you anyway, guys. Welcome and hello and hello and welcome. It's Un Poco Mas, basic bitches. Welcome to this special edition. It is... it's still May the 1st out here. Could be the 2nd where you folks are up over on the East Coast, the bready coast, the carb coast. I'm a little bit loopy still, just jet lagged. I had so much work. This is why I just, I dread going on vacation. It's so wonderful, but I come back and it's just a freaking madhouse. So many mistakes, everything's all fucked up, and like, what should I do? I don't know what to do. I'm a bigger idiot than the rest of you guys. You guys just think I know what I'm talking about. People here, you got to figure it out. I don't know anything. Leave me alone. I'm tired. I want to make YouTube videos. I want to do accounting and investing. Biggest bummer, premiums covered calls are going to be. Yeah, I mean, that is people. Everybody talks so much about covered calls, but the longer a stock moves sideways, you're going to get less and less premium, obviously. And a lot of you geniuses that have been in the market low these many, like 2 or 3 years since you, started collecting COVID checks and you just don't know your head from your ass. Like, you've never looked at a chart, like I said, of Microsoft. I was saying the other day that it stayed, at the same level for 10 years. You've never looked at a chart of Amazon that stayed at the same level for 10 years. Guys, people who think 2 years is a long time to be in a high quality growth play, anybody with a brain in their head is looking at Noto 2026, 2027 to make his options vest. They're looking at him talking about SoFi becoming a top 10 financial institution. You don't have to read between the lines or be some kind of code breaker to understand that this is a longer term play. This is not a sexy AI play where it's just going to go through the roof overnight. I mean, if the tech side takes off and we start, getting a better multiple, I think it could go up faster than a lot of people think. But it's not going to be one of these moon stocks, guys. It's just not that kind of company. This is a very safe investment. People, the Chia pet, he came out with a note, reduced his EPS. Like, okay, Q4 EPS is going to be 3, he says. Q1 was already a little bit over 2. So to get to that 8, they have to make less than 3 cents in Q2 and Q3. And Q3 is, historically quite strong. That's one of the things that really surprised me about, my blood brother, Deadliest Catch Chris, data-driven investing. I don't know how that guy has the time. He writes brilliant articles, does brilliant analysis. He fishes for king crab, bear dye crab. He fishes for opilial crab, blue crab. I mean, I fished with that guy for 30 years on the Bering Sea, and he's one tough son of a bitch. Another thing I like about Deadliest Catch Chris, a.k.a. data-driven investing, is that he looks like the guy. Have you ever seen those shows where, like, the really intelligent guy goes to jail for whatever reason, and he, like, keeps breaking out, and they're like, and Davis knew that if he could just get through the outer door, he'd be 3 barbed wire fences from freedom. And all he did was jump those 3 razor wire fences with a denim jacket. Like, if you watch these shows, you understand all it takes to defeat these razor wire fencing and all these maximum security applications is a Canadian tuxedo, guys. All you need is denim. What can't denim do? But Deadliest Catch Chris, he looks just like that really intelligent guy who's always like breaking out of prison in that show. He's like, and then Davis ran back to his mother where he was quickly apprehended. But in any case, guys, when he's not, I want to go over his article because it's really an excellent look at the ER and it does a much better look at breaking down the numbers than I could possibly do. Sorry if I'm rambling, guys. I did sleep a little bit last night, but before that it was a couple nights without sleep and I'm just extremely tired. I've been in meetings all day, spreadsheets, just absolute nightmare for me. Numbers on spreadsheets and doing that stuff for a month straight, it's like a continuous fingernails on the chalkboard situation going on in my brain. And guys, if you haven't, if you don't subscribe to Brooklyn Stock Shop, I don't know what the fuck is wrong with you. The guy did a fucking Starbucks video and I'm like, it felt like he's in the greatest location in the world. I'm like, where is he? In Bora Bora? Is he in one of these like fancy locations? Like, I'm at a gas station in Brooklyn. I'm like, if I had this guy's fucking delivery, I would be one of the most famous Youturders in the industry. But Piss Bucks, if you saw the Piss Bucks video, it's very timely. They got absolutely hammered. They're going to have problems with their union people. A lot of people are tempted to buy this dip in Starbucks. I wouldn't buy it. I'd be a buyer, probably be a buyer about $50 on that turd if you want to buy Piss Bucks. But you're going to piss off Brooklyn Stock Shop, which is not what you want to do. So don't buy that fucking stock. But I'm calling out Youturders. I'm calling out analysts. I want to call out the Chia pet. It's like, does 1 and 1 still add to 2? I mean, so if you're at 2.1 cents, you're at 3 for Q4. How do you come in under 8 for the full year? I don't see it. And 8's a joke. I mean, I think they're going to make, like 12 cents pretty easily. I think Q1, like I said, guys, is historically weak. If you look at these member ads, and then, direct deposit is really what's driving this business, guys. I mean, if you want to look at the core of the business, how they make money, it's really right now, it's mostly lending. I mean, and that's probably going to ramp up again. I mean, SoFi's not going to be able, I think, right away to make these dollars up with sales in the tech side. Financial services is growing, but they want to lump tech in like tech and financial services are both growing at the same rate. And frankly, it's just a bunch of bullshit. They need a much better breakdown these numbers. That's a point Data-Driven Investing Deadliest Catch Chris makes in his article. Is like some of these numbers are confusing, and if he can't understand it, I sure as hell can't understand it. I mean, I just watched what's that show with Tevis and Roy, the breakdown or the breakup, the sideways. I don't know. I think it involves Kevin James, King of Queens, but great show. I mean, Roy can sit there and talk about things like a fucking encyclopedia. God, that guy's smart. He's just like, oh, I'm just in systems. I'm not an important guy. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, right. Sounds 10 times smarter than most of these fucking talking heads that people listen to. I mean, look at the analysis you get from the Chia pet. He's a fucking idiot. I mean, he's not. He's smart. He's just disingenuous, in my opinion. But anyway, guys, let's look at what happened today. Sorry, I rambled on for about 5 hours already. The stock was up 14 cents, 2% on the day. We had the pump early, opened up, $6.70, pumped in the first 20 minutes, right up to 7, back down to 680, traded flat, 680 pretty much all day, pumped again at 230, and then pumped for exactly half an hour, and then sold off for the last hour, back down to 692, and then up another 8 cents after hours. Algo pinning it right there at $7. And lo and behold, Max Pain yesterday was $7.50. Max Pain today is in fact $7. And you see the volume, all kinds of calls, tons of contracts opening up now at $7. 36,000 contracts. Puts have moved down to the 650 range in volume, 13,000 contracts there, and still 11,000 back out at 7. So you see Max Pain on a percentage basis there. It's actually quite a bit closer, I would say, to quite a bit closer to 750 than 650. So I don't know. Max Pain is probably realistically somewhere like $7.15, $7.20, something like that. But anyway, guys, who the hell cares? Because the bottom line is they're going to push this thing exactly where they want it. Like certain days, certain weeks, like last week, Max Pain is, 750, but it was worth it to them to pump. I think personally, they're running a dump and pump. I don't think this ER was anywhere near bad enough for a sell-off. And everybody, the only thing they're pointing to that's so bad is Q2 guidance. I mean, they raised full-year guidance. What's the difference? These are largely just accounting decisions. What quarter you put this expense? What quarter you put that expense? What quarter you write something down? What quarter you increase the value of something? I mean, these are subjective decisions that they can time. I mean, and it's like one of the points in Data-Driven Investing's article, he was surprised by the cyclical nature of the business, that Q1 is weak. I mean, come on, Chris. It's like, Q4 is the holidays. Q4, SoFi Stadium also is humming, and just in general, consumers are spending. There's tons of economic activity. Q1 is dead. People aren't buying anything. People aren't buying gifts. People aren't going on vacations. People aren't buying cars. These post-winter months, they're getting back, to university, getting back to school, getting back to work. Q1 is weak. It's been weak with member ads. It's been weak for SoFi. They had a great Q1. This is a solid BB plus ER. I don't know why people are so dour on the guidance. This is the same thing they guided for, like 5 to 10 million this quarter, so they made 22 million. So they beat, by at least 10 million. There's no reason to think they won't do that again. These new members are generating revenues, which are generating profits. I mean, one of the things, the point Tanner was making the other night, I was watching one of the shows, I can't remember, they do so many fintech shows, which I like, all of them. But anyway, I was watching one, this was, I think, pre-ER, and he's saying, like, well, why do you think, the additional marginal revenues are going to flow so much to the bottom line? It's the business model. I mean, we're actually seeing that in some instances, some of the sides, data-driven investing goes into this, revenues are down and profits are up. And then there's kind of this thing, corporate profits versus the three segments, how things are divided up. Some changes there can kind of skew the numbers. So to me, you just have to look at the overall, what is each segment doing? How is the growth? How are the margins? These minor accounting changes quarter to quarter, I think, are just far too overblown. This irrational fear of a miss. I mean, because the market just overreacts because retail, are just such emotional little girls. These big abrupt moves, these big vertical moves, whether up or down, cause these hasty, irrational reactions. Like if the stock moves up very abruptly in a vertical line to the green, you want to chase in at the top because you have that FOMO, and then when the stock gaps down, the stock's gapped down, 3-4 times since the last run, these huge gaps down for essentially no reason on these ridiculous analyst calls. And when it does, it causes this fear response. It's just irrational, it's involuntary, but people panic sell, and that's what they run on, this basic psychology. When they were doing this revamp of Robinhood's, UI, the fucking thing looks like a casino website. It looks like a sports betting website. Robinhood is not your friend, and neither is fucking SoFi. You don't have any friends. That's why you're watching my show. That's why you're a Youturder. That's why you're on the internet. Because you suck. No, I'm just kidding. Most of you guys are probably pretty cool. But in any case, guys, I kind of forget what I was talking about. I lost my train of thought. Nautilurker is not here to keep me on the straight and narrow. Anyway, guys, welcome and hello to those of you who are just joining us. Welcome and hello. Let me get some, it's not even tap water. Thank God for Princess J. It's actually some delicious sparkling imported Italian water. Don't I feel special as a Youturder? Oh, that's delicious. And refreshing. Anyway, welcome and hello. Hello and welcome. I totally forget what I was talking about. What else is new? Can anyone in the comments tell me what the hell I was talking about? Who's here? They cut their debt. They cut the future, debt obligation. They cut the what was the word they were using with those preferred shares? It was a dividend, basically, that they had to pay on those shares. Savage of Wall Street is here. What's up, Savage? How's it going? Guys, if you haven't checked out Savage, believe it or not, the bloated Jimmy Superfly Snuka actually has pretty good content. He has a lot of credit card content. He's like a points guy. He's like kind of an everyman's, like blue collar, like poor man's points guy. He tells you how to get them points, which is great. But this guy, he sells a lot of covered calls. He makes a lot of money off you dummies. So that's why he doesn't like my show, because I'm trying to tell you idiots to stop buying those calls from him. But you're too stupid and you're going to do it anyway. Because you guys are a bunch of dumb turds. Adam Demonico's here. SJ Tavares. Let's go, SJ. I agree. Thomas Puzak. The spice must flow. Filling in for Nala. Where's Alberto Berti Aviles, my other wrench? Who's here? Who's regulating you turds? Do not like and subscribe, Hopkey Rink. Don't do it. You will definitely get a virus. Just hope. Brutal. What's up, Toto? How's it going? Thomas Puzak, Tony Notes going the distance, average down. Yeah, I bought 2,000 shares yesterday. I think it's $6.71, something like that. And I have tons and tons of leaps. Considering Q2 is going to be weak, is SoFi stock pretty much dead? It's, guys, David, the action is disconnected from the ERs. The stock has run 80%, 100%, 120% in short order, and it's going to do so again. I mean, this chart is not super complicated, guys. The thing, it pumps. Look at these pumps, guys. And it always goes up abruptly and then goes down, bleeding sideways. It starts here at 5. It pumps to $8.37. And these are all in like 4, 5, 6 weeks at the most. Some of them even in 3 weeks. So, you're talking about, what is that? 850 from 5. You're talking, 40%, something like that. So then it goes all the way, bleeds all the way back down to 440. pumps again to 810, almost doubles, bleeds sideways, the same angle. This horizontal bleeding down, it's always at the same angle, it's the same algo. These last two that went from July to the end of the year and then from the beginning of the year till now, these are almost the same move. The only difference is in this period, the second half of last year, that it was selling off not quite as abruptly. I mean, it was selling off abruptly, but not just these huge gaps down that it's doing right now, which are, just ridiculous. But if you look at if you kind of get past all the volatility, all the short-term volatility, and really look at what this stock's doing, it just legs up and then it bleeds sideways. And why does it do that? They are just basically running an endless series of pump and dumps and just taking an endless amount of money from retail in numerous ways. It's not just the options premium. It's not just all the idiotic short-term calls you guys buy, but it's the stop losses. It's the pumps. I mean, imagine, they get you to buy right here at, $9. And then people are capitulating at $6.71. I'll call out another Youturder, a guy I love, is that a trending stocks guy, the Midwest dude. I call him Jimmy Chitwood. Played basketball at Hickory, but he's a good guy. He knows his technicals very well, much better than me. His S1s, his stochastics, his pivots. But he's talking about, it's a bad stock because it's being traded. It's not based on fundamentals. But again, I go back. I point to Amazon. I point to Microsoft. It's not a bad stock. It's just market makers are making a decision what to do with it. They're not going to bleed this thing sideways for 10 years. We're going to know by 2026, what's going on, which way is up. I mean, are they going to hit that 55 to 80 cents they're talking about? If they're at the high end of that in 2026, guys, it's off to the races. Think about the growth curve to get from 8 cents to 80 cents in only 2 years. Gap net EPS, it's crazy. I mean, you're 10xing, you're talking about 10xing your EPS from your first year of net profit to your third year of net profit. Think about what that growth curve looks like. And management is maintaining that guidance, even in the face of these maybe one rate cut probably this year. I mean, they haven't come out and really lowered that guidance. They may do that. They may have to do that. But right now, this business model looks absolutely outstanding. You keep the members growing. You keep the direct deposits coming in, and then we're poised when the macro improves. You're sitting on this massive, unholy war chest of cash, these soldiers that you can come out and you can deploy, and they bring more money back to you, like Kevin O'Leary says on Shark Tank. Noto is smart. Noto is defensive. A lot of us think he's a little bit too conservative, but that's why we are not the CEOs of major financial companies. Because we're a bunch of impulsive, dumb turds. Were you an Army Ranger, top of your class in engineering at West Point, All-American linebacker? Neither was I. So STFU, Youturders. Stop second-guessing Noto. I'm not calling out Noto. I'm calling out you. My viewers. I hate you guys. Anyway, didn't mean to get worked up. David M is here. Considering Q2, we already read that comment. The arena is empty except for one man still driving as fast as he can. Sun down, the moon's come up. Tony knows methodically planning top toward being. Yeah, Davis, California, coming out of the band Cake, an excellent band, beautiful horn section. Well, Frank Sinatra sings stormy weather, the flies and spiders get along together. Just such weird songs. Like this is very odd stuff on that record, but excellent record. Excellent band. Seen Cake live several times. Anyway, good reference there, Thomas Puzak. Thank you. Charted Travel, rocket ships in Q4. Couldn't agree with you more. Grit and grunt. You're right. Covered calls not paying well, but I still want. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter. You're still going to sell them if you think the stock's moving sideways. Absolutely right, Grit. Some G&G, some G squared. Some income is better than no income, and the reason those premiums are so low is because it's very safe. Because the stock is moving sideways, and market makers have their claws in it very tightly. Charted Travels here. Yeah, S&P 500 is big. Second highest member additions is really big, especially in Q1. Guys, Q1 is historically pretty soft for members. So you see that here, Q1 not a big increase over Q4, and then here Q1 not a big increase over Q4. They only increased 400,000 members. And then Q2 it goes back to like 500,000, 500,000. That's only Q4 to Q1 again, only 400,000. Then it goes back to 600,000. So Q1 is historically weak. So to see this much gain, which is 600,000 plus member gains in Q1, is just pretty rare, because you can see going back here, you know, Q4 was quite a bit stronger than Q1 the next year, and then even Q4 back here was quite a bit stronger than the next year. But here, Q1 of 2024 is actually stronger than Q4 2023 at 585 and 622. So that is extremely bullish, guys. The other thing that's so bullish are the bank deposits. Direct deposit, I think it's by day 30, half, I think it was like 60% of the money members are signing up for direct deposits, and 90% of new deposits are coming from direct deposit members. Had 3 billion, approximately just a hair shy of 3 billion in deposits this quarter. And one of the points I'll make, and I forget where I heard this, but I actually double checked, is that like Discover Bank and Ally Bank, which are also paying these very high rates for customers, high bonuses, different things like that. American Express Bank's also the same. They did not show the same kind of growth in deposits that SoFi is growing. The only other comparable company is Lending Club, but they have, operating at quite a premium, not shorted the way SoFi is, and I would guess their institutional ownership is actually quite a bit higher. Another thing is just while I'm calling everybody out, let's call out some analysts. What's going on with Mark DeVries at Douche Bank, who's a hold at 11? You have, he was at 12. He reduced his target to 11. You have 60% upside on the stock. Why is it a hold? I mean, why would you not buy a stock that's, in the high sixes and you think the fair value is 11? It doesn't really make any sense. Citibank, if you look at the credible people, I mean, you can just ignore, the Chia pet. It's just obvious bullshit. He just follows book value. He's been at 3, which is, book value for the stock. He's just, no matter what changes, it's always at 3. Now book value's increased to 4. He's at 4. It's just nonsense. A company growing like this dynamic company with these businesses, this type of potential, this type of management, even with a short track record, just to price them at book value it's ridiculous. You're not doing your job. You're a hack. That's my opinion. You're a dishonest hack. That's my opinion. Buy SoFi. You're a dishonest hack. Anyway, Bill Ryan with Shreveport Global. He still has no price target, and he's a hold. What a set of balls on this guy. Touchdown Terry Ma with Barclays at $10. He's another hold. He's got 44% upside on the stock. He's a hold. Fair enough. I mean, you don't have to be a buy on the stock so you think the fair value's there. You might think it's going lower due to technicals or whatnot. The bologna sandwich, of course, this empty-headed, 5-headed freak. No, he's a good dude. He's a good guy. He's at 4, still at 4, still has that 42% downside. See, he's a sell. This is what you do. See, if you think it's 42% less, you're a sell. If you think it's 42% less, you're a sell. If you think it's 44% upside, you're a buy. See how that works? You think it's 58, 59% upside, you're a buy, ass face. You grinning, bullum-headed freak. Peter Christensen, another really good analyst, a really good track record there, 62%. He's got an $11 price target or 60% upside on the stock. The parrot is there. I heard Morgan Fudley downgraded again, another 50 cents. They're like clockwork with, they work with obviously their turds, these trio of D-bags, usually coming in with Oppenheimer, then you have KBW, then you have Morgan Fudley. They're kind of the bears dragging down the stock, the toilet paper hanging off your leg when you exit the men's room. Then the real bottom feeders, these turds, the Chia pet and the 5-head, they're just basically here to drag down this number and drag down these averages. The average is not even 3. So even with these skewed results that aren't even there anymore, he's at 4. They have, average is 30% upside on the stock. But obviously these don't mean that much. I do want to go over before just quickly go over the short interest. I know some of you turds want to see that. I don't know if anybody's still watching this. Looks like 60 of you idiots are here. But anyway, the short interest is pushing 20%. Today, most of the day, they were borrowing 45 million shares. After hours, they returned 30 million and then borrowed more. So right at this point, on the day, they're borrowing 29 million shares. Yesterday, they borrowed about 8 million. So this number of borrowed shares should be approaching, I guess probably 280 million or something in the morning. Utilization should probably be up around 82%, and days to cover probably will be up somewhere around 4. But I don't know if they'll update that short interest, probably pop up to around 20%. Anyway, guys, I want to go over data-driven investing. If you don't know his Substack, go over and just check out my Substack. It's got a little bit of crab salad on it. It's got some Old Bay seasoning. That's our Substack. We put some parsley on it. It's absolutely delicious. It can also be ordered as a casserole or a plate. My Aunt Gemma likes to heat it up with some baked potatoes. Anyway, guys, that's my Polish accent. Joy. Let's see. Hola, bienvenidos. Bienvenidos y hola. What is home? Home skillet. You got 36 hours of sleep. 36 hours of sleep. I got about 4 hours of sleep in the last 4 days, buddy. Robert Herjavec is here. Robert Herjavec, again from Shark Tank. Charted Travel, he's all over it indeed. Savage Wall Street, you just summoned the Chia pet. Why are you mad? He increased his price there. I'm not mad. I don't give a shit. It's just ranting for the internet. It's a bit, Savage Wall Street. Don't you know? Do you actually believe that all that nonsense you're talking about? The balance sheet looks awesome. Balance sheet is incredible. Tangible book value increased, lending capacity increased, all their capital ratios are just extremely low. I'm sweating like a whore in church. Not sure why. Probably wearing the hat. Too many layers, too fat, too out of shape, too old, too desperate. Anyway, guys, hello and welcome and hello to my new people. Going to go over this data-driven investing article and mercifully let you turds go to sleep. He's selling calls. He's selling covered calls. Savage of Wall Street's all over it. Charted Travel's here. David just Savage knows finger on the pulse. He has his finger right up the something of the market. The Savage of Wall Street, I know, but they're sitting here waiting to supervise his new 664. Nice FIB support. Took a while sleeping. Savage of Wall Street is once again dominating my comments. Imagine the difference, but Noto Lurker would be making 5 times that many anyway. We still thank Noto Lurker, even though he is snoozing or shaving his head with a straight razor or both. He's one of the few people that can shave his head with a straight razor in a dream. It's something he learned from the film Inception with Leonardo DiCaprio. I don't know if Ben Affleck was in that one. I'm not sure. I could never get through it without falling asleep. Anyway, he was horrible during the interviews. I completely agree with you. Chris LaPointe is much more animated. Noto looked like a deer in the headlights out there, like a corpse. I don't know. He looked shell-shocked. He looked drugged or something. I was not that impressed with Noto's interviews. Wall Street wrote those father needs. First saw my Cybertruck here in Nashville. Scary as hell in the streets. Almost ran over my donkey. Roosters had the same sense. What are you talking about, dude? Ass face. You sound like that guy in, that movie, Joan Wilder. My little burrow. Sofa needs to lie to everyone. EPS earns you sure through the roof. Everything's going through the roof. BZ, you won't get 60 or more again. It's 52. I would take $half share. I need $20 share in P market. BZ's here. Savage of Wall Street. God, I can't. Savage of Wall Street, you're just dominating everything. I can't get through any thoughts. You know where SoFi deserves to be. You know how much it's worth. 6. I mean, that's, I guess. I mean, the price is the price, man. I mean, it just is what it is. You can buy, people want to buy more and the price will go up. It's a supply and demand issue. There's a lot of fucking shares out there and they keep printing shares and they're not stopping. If you have 1,600 shares, you can write calls every month, buy another 100. I have 16,000 shares. I have many shares. I have a plethora of shares. Would you say you have a plethora of piñatas? How could you say that if you don't know what a plethora is? El Guapo, great character, El Guapo. He's more vulnerable than he lets on. Oh my God, my eyes hurt. I was started early today. I was on the computer like, 4:30 a.m. But I'm here with you turds. Welcome and hello. Kevin, how far out are the calls that you sell? Kevin, I usually around a month. That's me. A month, 6 weeks. I'm not selling out a year like Savage. I like to collect some premium and keep doing it. Sometimes even a couple weeks. Just depends. Just depends where I think the stock's going, how close we are to earnings. I don't really like to be holding options around earnings or selling options because you can get a huge dump and pump. You can get a huge pump and dump. You're not necessarily safe selling puts or calls. It just usually you're pretty safe selling covered calls with SoFi because the market makers see. Now, one thing you have to keep in mind is if retail starts making all the money selling these covered calls, they're either going to take the premium out or they're going to pump the stock because they're never going to just let retail take all the profits. What's the point of buying down here? Because freaking market makers, even if they think the stock is worth 10 or 11, they don't want to pay 10 or 11 when us Youturders were just paying 5 and 6. They don't want us making that kind of money. It's just not how it's just not how the game works. It's not how the system works. Anyway, guys, thank you for coming. Hello and welcome. BZ is here in New Jersey. No excuses. I'm pretty sure Liz Young is partially responsible for conservative outlook. Matt Flo, I guess Liz Young seems ultra conservative. Their entire management structure, with the exception of LaPointe, is way too conservative. BZ unsubbed and resubbed. I guess. Have fun, BZ. Do whatever you want to do. Okay, so we're going over data-driven investing. It's May 1st. I said this quarter was going to be the hardest one to predict. I was at 3 cents. They came in at 2.1 cents. I'm always around a penny high. I still have the SoFi Rock Opera locked and loaded. I wanted 3 cents. I was going to do it there. 2 cents is same this time. I may just do the Rock Opera anyway, just because that turd has been burning a hole in my pocket. So last year's earnings reports are excellent across the board. Q3, Q2 were especially good. Q1 of 2024 was a good quarter, but there were several aspects that were kind of meh. I'll back through my predictions. So the members... long-time ads, you can see from this chart, was the second best quarter ever, just slightly better than Q4 and Q2 2023. Of course, Q3, when they broke 700,000, is best quarter ever. This is key. Marketing efficiency continues to improve as well. Sales and marketing expenses decreased, and these are huge expenses for SoFi. Sales and marketing, these include the stadiums, the NBA, all these deals, all these spiffs. Sales and marketing expenses decreased for the second quarter in a row, and it's actually down to a level not seen since Q3 2022. For reference, SoFi spent $162 million on sales and marketing that quarter and only grew members by 424K. This quarter, they spent $167 million, added 622K. So that's almost 50% more new members for the same ad spend. That's what I was been saying since I saw this ER. The member ads are very impressive, and it's an anomaly. If that keeps up, we might be seeing those member ads level up. Because remember, Noto was saying we're going to get 1 million member ads per quarter. So if we were expecting, 5 something, we got, probably more, 50,000 more than most people were expecting. Very, very good sign. Management attributes this to unaided brand awareness, the NBA partnership, all of those things. Customer acquisition costs, similarly, down. Very, very good sign. I'm going to let you guys read this. I'm not going to try to read it all to you. Before we leave the discussion of members, important to point out, now subtracting removed members. So some members are going off. They are taking out some inactive members, the members that didn't log in. So there's new metrics. You can read all about that. Originations, my expectations for personal loan originations were not too high. He was wrong with his reading the situation. He was expecting them to deploy that excess capital they raised in Q1. They did not. SoFi really has been completely taking their foot off the accelerated personal loans. He predicted 3.65 and originations came in at 3.3. This was in spite of the fact they sold 1.26 billion in personal loans, which is in his range of predictions 1.1 to 1.8 that he expected. Increased tangible book value by 608 million, about 500 million from the convertible note exchange, and about 100 million from business operations. They have plenty of excess capital as a result of the permanent no deal and organic increased tangible book value for the operations. Capital constraints are not a problem. It's another thing Chia was harping on was capital constraints, just talking out of his ass like Ace Ventura. Just bend over, I can't hear you. Nice to meet you, Ben. Victor Hugo. Unused capital is money left on the table from a return standpoint. SoFi has made a strategic decision to wait. So they've taken their foot off the gas pedal. Because of risk. Anthony Noto is extremely risk averse, and he always has been. So SoFi originations, they're not that low. They're just basically slightly higher than they were last quarter. And, besides Q2 and Q3, their highest quarter on record. So third highest quarter ever, which for a down quarter. Guys, SoFi is looking at, even on by conservative estimates, growing the top line 15, 17, 19% this year. Other companies like Robinhood, like Affirm, like Upstart, when they have down years, they absolutely fall apart. Their sales go down 50%, 30%. SoFi is struggling in a transition year, what everybody's saying, that hot topic, that hot button word everybody's talking about, transition year. And, they're still talking about growing strong double-digit growth. And they're going to grow profits, obviously. I mean, last year they weren't even profitable. They're going to be profitable for the full year. People are saying 8 cents. I think it could be easily more 12 cents. But, time will tell. Anyway, deposits. This is key. They had their strongest deposit increase ever in Q1. That's testament to the fact they continue to add users, make them their primary bank. 2.98 in deposits. A little bit under his estimate, 3.1, but increased from 5.5, 5.568. What is that? The products. Okay, deposit growth is driven by the fact they're adding members, existing members are adding more deposits. Direct deposit, it's key. Direct deposit's key to the business. Direct deposit is key to the business. SoFi is killing it with direct deposits, killing it with that deposit growth. SoFi actually had the highest deposit growth of all large digital banks. Discover and Ally were both very weak quarters in terms of deposits added. It was Discover's weakest quarter in 2 years, and SoFi's strongest quarter ever. Take that, Deadliest Catch, Chris. Discover's weakest quarter in 2 years and SoFi's strongest quarter ever. What's the trajectory, turds? They're going from 8 cents this year to 80 cents in 2026. 10xing the net profit in 2 years. What have you turds ever done? I saved Latin. Okay, guys, so revenue, again, revenue was down, but just very, very slightly. Lending revenue, not bad, but this is, again, it's a choice. He talks about how it's a choice. Growth in lending is on hold until macro becomes more clear. Lending origination volumes, you guys can go over all this yourself. Student loans and home loans were actually stronger than expected. Home loans were mortgage originations, of course, not refis with interest rates being high. The bearish explanation for the decline in revenues is that regulators are forcing their hand. You read Chris's analysis, Jeffrey, that's Midwest Values analysis from Morgan Fudley. You can see that. I really don't think that's correct. So Noto's response, you can read that. Financial services growth is actually just pretty weak. I don't really love the revenue growth. Again, they're talking about a transition. They're talking about financial services is going to increase 50% this year. We have to see if that's true. Financial services revenue breakdown, these are net interest income versus non-interest income. And that non-interest income is actually growing, which is a good sign. Technology platform, the quarter's technology platform results highlight the fact that analysts and investors need better metrics. There's no clarity. It's completely opaque, the data we get with the technology platform. All we see are the new accounts and the revenues. That's basically it. So you can't tell how they're classifying that, what's actually happening, where these monies are coming from. I was initially disappointed with tech revenue platform decreasing from Q4 to Q1 last year, where there's a drop also Q4 to Q1. Then he's talking about they lost their second biggest client in that period. So then he's realizing this is cyclical. Okay, so, this was also addressed in Q&A where Noto said, Q1 is seasonally weaker quarter for the technology platform business, but the year-over-year growth rate is what people should focus on because that eliminates the impact of seasonality that accelerated. And year-over-year, things look very, very good. I mean, it's only 20%, but this is a transition year. We keep hearing that. It's a transition year. Use air quotes. There are only a small handful of people who have followed this company in depth as long as I have, since it was traded under the ticker symbol IPOE. I still don't think I've missed anything they've said publicly. This is the first time I remember hearing about seasonal weakness in Galileo's business. It stands to reason, guys. Consumers aren't spending. Galileo at its core is a consumer spending business. The payment processing, the loans, the economic activity. It's weak in Q1. I don't know, Deadliest Catch, Chris. You should know that. You should know better. You're an engineer. You're a crab fisherman. Been on the Bering Sea just a little bit too long. It makes sense a payment processing company would see seasonal weakness Q1. He goes into all that. Corporate revenues, again, it's opaque. Corporate revenues up the last 2 quarters a lot, so they changed the way they're accounting for something. Chris goes over all that. I can't adjust. Total adjusted net revenue. SoFi fundamentals, you see the adjusted net revenue going up very strong, contribution profit, adjusted EBITDA, and net income. So net income is flat on a little bit of decreasing revenue, which is actually a very good sign. It shows you that the company is, in fact, becoming more efficient. Adjusted EBITDA, lending margins were still excellent. I thought the tech platform margins would fall, but they actually improved slightly. What's more, financial services continues to prove that listen to this, guys. Financial services continues to prove that it is mostly a fixed cost business, that variable costs are low, and that most of the revenue growth goes straight to the bottom line. That's the whole key with this business model. That's why they're pushing financial services. In fact, financial services revenue growth was only 11.4 million, but its contribution profit increased by 12.1 million. Profitability actually increased by more than the increase in revenue, as expenses in the segment decreased between Q4 and Q1. This is more than likely a result of decreased sales and marketing spend that was described above in the members section. So the incremental EBITDA margins, guys, are, again, second strongest quarter on record. Q1 historically weak. If you put the quarter in context, it's excellent, guys. It's a triple beat. It's a raise for the year. Everybody's focused like a bunch of myopic morons on this, weak guidance for Q2, but they're sandbagging it anyway. You guys are not holding a bag. You're holding a bag of sand. You're like a wet bag of sand. You have a dad bod. You have a midsection like a wet bag of sand. Noto's sandbagging. He's going to punch you in the face when you're not looking. Okay, overall better margins across the board and more adjusted EBITDA than I expected. He predicted 126 million. SoFi ended up with 144 million. That is a strong beat of Deadliest Catches Chris's estimates. What is that, like 15% beat? And Deadliest Catch Chris is very conservative. The guy once stabbed me when I made a mistake setting some gear. Set a crab pot wrong, stabbed me in the leg. They continue to show that their long-term EBITDA margins are probably going to end up above the 30% EBITDA guidance they have provided. Those long-term EBITDA margins, some of the talking heads out there think it could be 35%. Which will lead to probably more than 20% of the bottom line. 6th straight quarter that their trailing 12-month incremental EBITDA margins are above 40%. Noto, in his prior life as an analyst, he used this forward indicator, what margins would end up in a business he analyzed. If it's forward indicator for SoFi, it is a very positive one. The numbers are undoubtedly buoyed. I love that word. Buoyed by the drive profitability. Buoyed by the drive and profitability in 2023. They're more than likely come back down in the coming quarters, but this will be a key number to watch going forward, especially into 2025. GAAP net income, he predicted 16 million. SoFi came out with 22.5. So again, quite a bit higher. We're talking 6 million. So what is that? Like 35% higher, beating my prediction by 6.5 million, also beating analyst estimates. So it's a triple beat, guys. It's a triple beat. It is what it is. My conclusion, I'm not even going to read his conclusion because I don't give a flying fuck. My conclusion is that it's a solid B. There's really no reason for this sell-off. I think we're seeing a dump and pump, and I think the stock's going to pump up to a higher value. Probably going to hold it down for the next 2 weeks. Then it'll start to pump, and it'll probably pump over a 4-week period. That's my prediction. I'm looking at the chart. I'm reading the tea leaves. I threw some chicken bones down, and I'm making a decision. Guys, thanks for joining me so much. Welcome and hello. Hello and welcome. Yes, like and sub the Savage of Wall Street's channel. It's great content. Guy comes at you with some polo shirts. He figured out how to turn his shot from sideways, vertical to horizontal. He's a technological dynamo. Savage of Wall Street. Brian, my insurance rates are great. Driver, pink cars have better rates. Also, Pink Panther. Maybe you should sell Mary Kay, Brian. Maybe you should sell Mary Kay if you want to drive a pink car. Talk to him, Ross. Talk to this guy. He's still a greenhorn, Ross. He stabbed me in the leg, Ross. Deadliest Catch Chris, but I forgave him. Still good friends to this day. And I didn't know how to set a crab pot. Those crab pots are heavy. I thought I was melting butter on the side in a little saucepan. They're talking about setting gear. I thought we were going to boil up some. They told me that's not what we do. We're catching them to process them and sell them to commercial process. I was going to boil up some crab. I was melting some butter. I had one of those little bibs on, those little plastic bibs. So, Deadliest Catch Chris just kind of jabbed me in the leg a little bit with his fillet knife. And I think it was fair. Stern, much like the Russian police, he's stern, but he's fair. I'm kind of loopy, guys. I don't know what I'm talking about. Steve Martin agrees. We're going to 15 by next quarter. Absolutely not. Savage Wall Street selling cover. No, we're not going to 15 by next quarter, guys. We're not going to 15 by next quarter. The stock's not going to more than double in a quarter. I would love to say that. I would love to give you, some bullshit, but it's just not going to happen. I would love to give you some bullshit. I think you know that if you watch this channel. But guys, if you're a member of Seeking Alpha, they have 4 good articles over there. I read all these very, very quickly. I was very busy at work today, but I read them all as fast as I could. If you look at the short volume ratio, guys, today it wasn't that high, 53%, but the last 3 days, very, very high. Last 2 days, well above 60%. This is one thing I wanted to point out to you guys as far as the institutional buys. One of these that is quite important. CalPERS, California Public Employees Retirement System. This is the pension fund for the state of California. Guys, they increased the last quarter. They increased their SoFi shares by 29% to 1.7 million. This is 1/1000th of 1% of their portfolio. Okay? So they own, $12 million worth of SoFi. Big whoop. That's 8/1000ths. 8/1000ths. I can't even do fractions that big. I don't have that many fingers. I got these short sausage fingers. Like John Madden. But I don't have a luxury bus pack me across the country. I got to squeeze my ass into that little 18-inch coach seat. Like trying to squeeze 10 pounds of crap into a 5-pound bag. The physics don't work. C-Bar Engineering will tell you. Where is C-Bar Engineering? You haven't seen him in a while. It's probably working. It's probably engineering something. Probably doing something important. Got much more important things to do than watch my stupid show. All right, guys. That's all I've got. But I want to point that out with CalPERS. These are extremely important institutions in terms of stabilizing the stock. Here you see the institutional ownership in SoFi. Big pop when they last measured. Big pop. It's popping. It's on and popping. Okay, guys, got to be a little bit more quiet. I'm getting a little bit too excited. Sweating like a pig, but I am a middle-aged chunky monkey, so that's just kind of how these things go. But, guys, if you look at this purchase, you see CalPERS. It's basically nothing for them, but they've steadily increased their ownership of SoFi, and they have a really, really good average cost. So, see them, basically, they had, this is in thousands, so what is that? 1.5 million shares they held in 2022. Then they kind of decreased as low as 1.2, 1.3, then 1.3, then 1.3, and then all the way up to 1.7. So very, very good sign. These pension funds, they don't buy and sell. You can see over the course of 2 years just a little bit of variance. They basically hold these positions for years, decades. So if the stock continues to perform, institutional investors like CalPERS, very, very important to stabilizing the stock. We need to hit that. We're at that 40% threshold. Now we need to get to that 50% threshold to try to shake the shorts from the stock. But guys, volume's been very, very strong. We'll just have to see what happens tomorrow. The options looking bullish in terms of the put-call ratios, institutional put-call ratios, Wednesday, Tuesday, and the 1 week. All positive order value on the 1 week, 68%. So, guys, we'll just have to see what happens tomorrow. Should be an exciting Thursday. We should get kicked in both nuts with a steel-toed boot and then say, thank you, sir. May I have another? And the answer is yes, you may, because you're a SoFi investor. Guys, thanks for joining me. It's Un Poco Mas, the show where we give you just a little bit more. Peace! I'm out.